welcome to our property in northern Colorado. As you can see, we have a little bit of a disaster here. In the summer of 2020, the Cameron Peak fires came through here and took out our property. So on Labor Day, it finally overtook our property here. We had a little bit going on. We had a permanent tent set up here. But we lost everything. We just set up a sawmill a couple months before. And we'll be able to salvage pieces of it, but we won't. We've already reordered pieces of it to try and recuperate what we've lost. But we get to start all over. Get to take down every tree on the property and see what we can make of this.
All right, so that's the corner stake of our property.
We've been trying to relocate where our property lines are. When we bought this 3 years ago, there was good stakes with ribbons. It was really easy to find. But
in fact, we even spent some time just going up and down staking, like when we first.
Yeah, just seeing where everything was and putting more ribbons on trees so we could see it. Obviously, all that burnt down. So now we're kind of starting over, and knowing that we have to remove all the trees anyways because they're going to fall down and they're just a hazard at this point. Yeah, we have strung at least this one. It took us forever to find the stake again, but we got it strung all the way up. We found another marker that was halfway off the property line, and those are tied off. And we thought we knew where the top property stake was, and kind of reevaluating that. We have some old property stakes that maybe weren't as exact because when the surveyor came out here, they weren't right on. There's a T-post stake with a rebar over there that 20-30 years ago maybe originally was what they thought was going to be the corner marker, but doesn't seem to match what's on our plat of survey when we purchased the property. And this was the one that was clearly marked by the surveyor. So now we just got to figure it out and continue finding this line, cutting down trees as we go to open it up, and eventually we with as much as burned down, we've discovered we have a lot of stone on our property, and we'll probably be using that stone to create a simple field stone wall as we're going up the property lines, just so we have some delineation there. But yeah, so we'll just keep going. We're sitting on about 10 acres, so.
The truck, kind of see it through the trees up there. And over in there, about, is where we had everything built, our tent and our whole setup. So kind of close to this half of the property. The rest of the property is super hilly.
Yeah, it goes, I guess, 3/4 of the way up that mountain up there, and up this side as well is pretty steep. The one advantage is now that everything's burnt down and we're not worried about saving all these beautiful trees, we can kind of pick which spot on our property we want to rebuild on. So we'll be looking at different views and see where we're truly going to relocate. And the whole idea is that I do plan on building a log cabin up here.
Got plenty of trees to do it.
Yes, we do.
You don't even have to really pick and choose.
I'm hoping that maybe some of these aspen here on this lower half have survived. I won't know until spring, but I won't cut them all down. The ones that are clearly gone, I will. Even if we have lost all the aspens, they should grow up from the roots again, just because that's how aspen work. So the hope is that we'll be able to recover pretty well. We also plan on planting a lot more evergreens and other trees as well come spring, once we've had a chance to get through this and we're back into the growing season. for now, as long as the snow's off the ground, we're gonna cut down trees, a lot of them.
Like every single one. Feels a bit daunting.
Yeah. All right, so today, this is our center stake on the property line here. I've already cleared from this center stake down to the bottom corner. You can hear our kids yelling in the background.
You know, they're excited to be here and run around and still have some fun.
But the whole idea is I have run as straight as I can to the upper stake, which we've located as well. But there's a lot of trees in the way. So ultimately, any tree that is touched by this string line, I'm going to cut down so we can really clear the property line and know exactly where we're at. And from there, then we can start creating field walls and actually delineations between us and our neighbors. But yeah, that's the whole idea today, just a lot of chainsaw work.
All right, so one of the questions I'd asked Scott was, why do we have to take all the trees down? Like, you look at the wood and they don't look bad, but I don't know if you could tell when they fell, they sound really hollow. And
yeah, ultimately they're just super dry. I'm not sure, there's no sap at all. I've cut quite a few, and even waiting and looking for sap further on, normally you'd see this sap kind of flowing out, and there's just nothing. So they are bone dry, which I guess in some ways is really good for building, because
they've already been kiln dried.
I'm not sure if it quite counts, but it's definitely better than having it air dry. So yeah, less cracking as the wood does continue to dry, and it will continue to dry to some degree, but much less than it would have otherwise.
Well, we don't have to like paint or seal the ends of these, right?
I'm not intending to. Maybe I should. I have like anchor seal that I could put on them, but just basing on what I'm hearing and seeing as I'm felling these trees, I don't think there's that much need. Besides, there's an awful lot of trees. I don't have that much anchor seal.
Okay, so we are standing on the southeast corner of our property. The south line goes in that direction. And you can see, I mean, obviously up close you can see the fire where it went, but you can see out on the hillsides out there where the fire just ravaged.
Everything in the distance is burned. You can see pockets of green still, which is great, but...
Like, in fact, our neighbors, just right down there, somehow survived. I mean, grateful that they survived, but...
Yeah, so they have a cabin right below our property, and it survived, which is awesome.
But you can...
But you'll see pockets of this green throughout this fire. But unfortunately, we did not get any green pockets on our property.
Nope. Ours is completely burnt and gone. But
do know some magnificent views of the taller mountains up here to the south of us.
you know, I will say that not having these trees filled out and being up here, one, it was a lot easier to get up here. We're not trying to figure out how to find it. But two, it is still a pretty amazing view just looking out at everything.
Long road of recovery for the landscape, but it will recover. And we'll do our part, at least here on our property, to see what we can do.
Yeah.